The Honourable Natalie Ward.
Thank you, Mr President. I rise to place on record some information on the current conflict that's happening in Israel to provide some context on the recent events. In 2020, I was privileged to lead a parliamentary delegation mission to Israel, where I saw these places with my own eyes and formed my own view. My thoughts and prayers go out to our friends and neighbours in Israel during this difficult time, and I acknowledge the authorship of Rabbi Lewin and Mr Martin Tate and thank them for their words, many of which I quote. The escalation of hostilities in Israel in the past 72 hours has taken many by surprise. However, it's been the anti-Israel sentiments and the blaming of Israel that, although not uncommon, needs to be addressed. To give the situation in an Australian context, imagine that Bondi and St Ives were two countries, and the people of Bondi began to fire rockets towards the North Shore. Rockets with the capability of destroying a bus and causing extensive damage to houses. Imagine that we had no way to defend ourselves. We would be demanding from government a military response to protect our lives and our lifestyles. Over 1,100 such rockets were launched into Israel in the past 2 days by Hamas in Gaza. Fortunately, Israel has developed a missile defence system called the Iron Dome, which shields Israeli cities from incoming rockets from Hamas. The dome is over 90% effective, however, it is not perfect. What is the difference between the West Bank and Gaza? Well, the West Bank and Gaza are two areas which between 1948 and 1967 were controlled by Jordan and Gaza by Egypt. After 1967, these areas came under Israeli control. After the signing of the 1993 Oslo Accords, Palestinians have been under the control of the Palestinian Authority. In 2005, Israel vacated Gaza, and after 2007 elections, the Strip has been controlled by Hamas. The West Bank is divided into three areas. Area A under Palestinian control, which includes all the major Arab cities in the West Bank, and Area B, which is jointly managed, and Area C under Israeli control. After the events of 2007, the Palestinians are ruled by Fatah in the West Bank and Hamas in Gaza. As a general rule, things are generally more peaceful in the West Bank. There are Israeli towns and interaction between Israelis and Palestinians. However, entrance into the Palestinian towns are illegal for Israelis. Unlike the Gaza Strip, which is completely devoid of Jews after Israel left the Strip and tore down the settlements, over 14,000 Jews were relocated from the Gaza Strip. 20% of Israel's population are Arab. There has been Supreme Court justices, political parties and Arabs in the army and diplomatic corps. They have full citizenship rights and they enjoy all the benefits and opportunities of the state. Hamas is a recognised terror organisation by the Australian government and has ruled Gaza since 2007. Its charter calls for the destruction of Israel and has fought 3 wars with Israel. Hamas have used the current situation in Israel to launch these rockets. What is the reason for this escalation? Elections were to be held on the 22nd of May. However, Prime Minister Mahmoud Abbas postponed the elections last week indefinitely. Abbas is in the 17th year of his 4-year term. The problem is that he's not popular, and polling suggests that Hamas would win the elections if they were held. Considering what's happened in Gaza, this is not a good outcome for the West Bank. Abbas has used the excuse of the Israeli government to refuse to allow the Arabs of East Jerusalem to vote as the reason to postpone the elections. Blaming Israel is always popular. Sheikh Jarrah is a neighbourhood in Jerusalem, which until 1948 was a Jewish area. After the war, the area was controlled by Jordan, who expelled all the Jews of the East Jerusalem and the Old City. They allowed the Arabs to live in the confiscated houses. After the Six-Day War, a legal argument about who owns the houses began. This was settled in court, which ruled that either the Arabs pay rent to the original owners and their descendants, or they face eviction. This was used as a pretext by Hamas that Israel was forcing Arabs out of their homes. This is a purely legal issue that does not involve the Israeli government. And the third reason is Ramadan. The holy month of Ramadan is always an emotional time. At Friday prayers on the Temple Mount, Palestinians had stockpiled rocks, fireworks and other weapons to use to fight the Israeli police and throw rocks onto the Jewish worshippers at the Kotel. These skirmishes were used by Hamas to prove that Israel wanted to conquer and destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque. The firecrackers set fire to a large tree on the Temple Mount and was used as propaganda to prove the case. And fourthly, the Israeli elections. Israel has completed its 4th election in 2 years. Prime Minister Netanyahu was unable to form a ruling coalition, and now it's the turn of the opposition. They've been working with the Arab-Israeli party RAM to potentially form a government. This is viewed as anathema by Hamas and could be another reason for the violent reaction. As an Arab party, part of the Israeli government would prove the integration of the Arab community, which comprises 20% of the population, into Israel. Together, all of these reasons have provided fuel for Hamas to launch over 1,000 rockets against Israel. Millions of Israelis were sent to hide in bunkers and protected shelters. Schools were closed and the Israeli Air Force has responded with precision bombings in Gaza. It's a tragedy and it's a shame, and our prayers go to our friends in Israel.
The Honourable Peter Primrose.